Kelly girl, forget it, because right now what is coming into you based on the current circumstances that we are in now, because is the was the entire element of COVID. This doesn't make sense. You don't even have the clients. You have, let's just say you had maybe 15 clients and I was believing for 50 clients. I had to say, I am going to believe that what I am seeing will come to fruition, and I'm going to start making these plans and putting these necessary things in place. And so said, so done. Space became available. While I didn't know how I was going to pay for, I stepped out in faith because I saw that this is what this could be.
Walking in my own shoes.
Hello, I'm Kellie Cadogan, and welcome to another season of the Down to Earth podcast. I'm looking forward to sharing with you all that God has in store for you today. So here's a reminder to you, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please make sure that you click the subscribe button below. And if you are interested in this beautiful shirt that I'm wearing, which is the Walking in My Own Shoe shirt, which pretty much is going to be focusing on what we're looking at for this particular series of the Down to Earth podcast, make sure that you also click those links to make sure that you get your order as well so that you can rock your Walking in My Own Shoe shirt. Our last season, I touched a little bit on the word preparation, and I want to go a little deeper with relation to that because I believe within the component of vision, we spoke about what vision. We spoke about the component of faith. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, and that it also requires action. And most times, we may come to a point where you will say, "Hey, well, Kelly, I do believe, but I'm not seeing X, Y, and Z happening, or things may not be shifting, etc." But the question that I have for you is, have you been activating it from the perspective of preparing, of preparation? Very, very often we can say, yes, I believe for this particular thing to come to fruition. But how could it be if you are just sitting and waiting? Right. I also believe that there's a point of where people say, I've heard very often, I'm waiting on God. But then when the conversation happens with relation, so what are you doing in the meantime? Because waiting does not necessarily mean that it is a place that you are just sitting and you're not doing anything. It can is also very active as well. And I think the activity comes along to do with, okay, how am I preparing myself for when that thing that I'm believing God for, that when the opportunity presents itself or the call comes through, that I can actually say, okay, yes, I could see that I had faith for this and this particular thing is happening. Because we did discuss faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It therefore means that it's not there yet. It is there. Right? It is there, but it's just that you are not seeing that particular thing yet, but you are going through the process of believing that it will happen. But I also think that when we come to a point where we say, okay, well, you know what? I am believing God, or I have a vision for a plot of land, or house, or maybe to shift from one place that you may be in, from renting to maybe a bigger space of renting, that you will start to realize that it requires you to have some steps, some things you need to put in place. um I just shared with you about the renting part, and I wanna share that with you right now. I did have a circumstance where I was renting a small space. Let's say the space was probably like 143 square feet or so, and within that particular complex that I was renting, there was another space that I actually thought that would be so good, that space would have been so much better for me based on where I was at the particular time. I was saying, I'd love to be able to rent that bigger spot. And I did have in my heart that, maybe someday it will happen, but every single thing around me was saying that this wasn't happening because it was already, somebody was already renting it, you know. I think we were in COVID at a particular point in time, and from a financial perspective, things weren't moving how you wanted it to at that particular point for me. And I thought, it is still a desire of my heart, right? And I had envisioned and I started thinking about, if I had to get this space, what are the things that can happen in this space? And I started writing it down that this will happen and I'll have these amount of clients and these kinds of projects I can do. When I started writing this entire thing, and I started to get to work on that, I knew that it was already occupied. I didn't think that the person that was in the space was going to be moving anytime soon, until one day I saw a message and I was like, my goodness, it's available. The challenge was the increase was going to be different from what it was previously paying. And but what kept coming to me was that vision. And what kept coming to me was, you need to believe that this can happen. I had the faith, I had to activate the faith that what I am believing for will come to fruition. But I also went into the process of preparation. And interestingly enough, what ended up happening is that somebody called me one time and they said to me they were looking for a space to rent, because one of the things that I had in mind was that I wanted to be able to rent out the space for persons as well. And that person called, it was in the older space, and the person called and said to me they were looking for some place to rent, and my current space was too small. Or it would have been really not too small, a lot very tight. And I spoke in by faith and I said, yes, by this particular time, this space will be available to me. And so said, so done. I had to start speaking forth. I had to start activating. And sometimes the activation part of the preparation may just be just writing so that you can start to see it. But you have to believe that entire process. And for that entire process, in terms of moving from a smaller space to a bigger space, I had to believe that the funds were going to start to come to me, even though at that particular point in time, nothing about, I could have said, Kelly girl, forget it, because right now what is coming into you based on the current circumstances that we are in now, because is the was the entire element of COVID, this doesn't make sense. You don't even have the clients. You have, let's just say you had maybe 15 clients and I was believing for 50 clients. I had to say, I am going to believe that what I am seeing will come to fruition, and I'm going to start making these plans and putting these necessary things in place. And so said, so done. Space became available. While I didn't know how I was going to pay for it, I stepped out in faith because I saw that this is what this could be. I believed with all my heart, my mind, and my soul. And when I said yes, I remember spending time before God, because it was a step. I mean, it was a real big step for me at that time in faith. And I remember, before I even saw the final look of the space when it was moved out, all I heard God said to me was to take it. And I took that space in faith, not knowing how it was going to materialize. And every single thing that I had on my list in terms of me getting prepared for it, I started to put those things in place. Every single thing started happening. I started renting out the space. I started having the space so I can design in a way which I could have more clients. I could do more within the space. And it just started to expand. So the preparation process is super important on this journey of faith, is important in the believing process. So don't take those little things for granted. So if you're in a place right now where it's like, I am believing God for XYZ, and even if you're a younger person and it might be a case, hey, you know, I want to purchase, let's just say, a phone, your favorite type of phone you always wanted to have, right? And you can see that I could do these things with this phone. You're working. But what are you doing with the money that you're working to help to prepare you for that thing? And that's where things like, okay, you know what? Rather than spending money on this, I am going to put down a portion of that money to put towards to prepare me for that which I am believing that that someday that I will have this particular thing. So it's just not always material things. It's also to as it relates to our relationships. If you are in relationships that there's tension, relationships where you know what, you don't know if there's going to be a turnaround, believe it, you have to prepare. Sometimes the preparation part is, how do I work on myself? Is it that I have to go to therapy? Is it that I need to spend more time in prayer? Is it that I need to maybe change my environment a little bit so I can get a different perspective? Is it that I need to start reading a little bit more? All of these elements move towards you with relation to the element of faith and believing and having that vision of, I really want to see this friendship or this business relationship shift a bit, that is more positive. One of the ways that you're believing for that, you have to ask yourself, how am I preparing? What am I doing on a daily basis to activate that? And the last thing I'm going to share with you is that relates to health, because many people say, I really want to get in shape. I really want to maybe get stronger, or maybe want to run longer or walk longer, or maybe lose some weight. If those are the things, you also still have to prepare. It just doesn't turn up like that. We all wish it did, but it doesn't work. Life does not work like that. Maybe you could take a pill. It will probably happen eventually. But the question is, what are the long-term effects of that? But coming back to what we were talking about with relation to just putting the necessary things in place. If you say that you want to achieve this particular thing, then what are the preparation steps you are putting in place to get that? And therefore it means sitting, going through a plan, and working backward to what it is you want to achieve. So just remember that it is now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And it has other layers that we need to make sure that we are putting in place to see that it comes to fruition. So wherever you are in your life right now, remember that is in God's words, and it says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And I am believing that those things of which you are believing God for will come to fruition. Have a wonderful time. Until next time. Bye bye.
So many times you said I can't do it. Well, I am here